the Singleton of Glen Ord Cask Strength 18-year-old Special Release 2019 and 14-year-old Cask Strength Limited Edition from 2018. Should these be on your radar? Stay tuned for the Whiskey Whistle. Hello, my whiskey people. Mark here at Whiskey Whistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from Winnipeg, the center of North America, bringing you a double take of the Glen Ord from Singleton. We have the 2019 limited special release, the cask strength 18-year-old, and also the limited release 14-year-old from 2018. So let's check these out together. I think Glen Ord is tough to get over here in North America, although this was a readily available release right now that you can get. So check out this review and see if this is something that you would like. All right, we'll get this 18-year-old poured first. And I'm going to pour that into my Singleton, the Singleton Glencairn glass. Actually, it's a Glencairn knockoff, but it'll do just fine. Let's get that poured. That's a good amount. Now this one is 55% ABV, 55% alcohol by volume. And I'm going to put a cap on that because we're going to start with the 14 and then we'll move into the 18 to give the 18-year-old the right amount of breathing time in the glass, which should be about a minute per glass, but we'll try to speed things up a little bit. So that's the 18. Gorgeous label. I love the new labels. Whoa, they're very unique. This is the 2018. This is the 2019. I quite like that, and I love the Singleton fish. I guess that's a salmon. Beautiful. And berries and flowers there. Very enticing little canister. Beautiful. Hopefully it doesn't fall over. All right, and let's get the 14 poured. This one I've had for quite a while, since November or so. So we'll get that poured. The 14-year-old. This one is 57.6% ABV. Now the Glen Ord, I just recently found out, is an enormous distillery. Now I knew it was big, but I had no idea that it was something like 11 million liters a year. It's just an incredible amount of whiskey that's being made at Glen Ord. A lot of that is made for blends, although the Singleton now, this is the 4th biggest selling brand of single malt in the world. Now, let's keep in mind, though, the Singleton has 3 different distilleries. We have the Singleton of Glendolin. We have the Singleton of, Dufftown, and the Singleton of Glen Ord. The Glen Ord is typically sent to the Asian markets, although occasionally we get these unique releases about once a year. So you got to have some connections to get the standard 12 and 18 from Asia, or you have to watch for these special releases and shell out a little bit more money and you'll get that. Now this was about 200 plus or minus, and I think this was about 175, round about those prices. Cask strength, well aged, interesting casking. Let's go through the tasting and we'll talk about whether or not these are worth it for you. First of all, the color. We'll check out the color of the 2 of these side by side. All right, so what do you see there for color? Now these probably have a little bit of E150A added, the spirit caramel, but they're pretty light, so I don't think not very much. Plus the fact that these are very special releases that are small batch would mean that probably they don't need to put much, if at all. It might even be natural in color, but they won't say it because they don't say it. Diageo doesn't say that on any of their whiskeys. Okay, so that's the 18. And here's the 14. And we'll check out the legs first of the 14, and then when I get into the 18-year-old, we'll check its legs out. This was also a recent feature for the Winnipeg Whiskey Club, of which I am the founder and president, and it went over very well. It might have even been the favorite of last month's event. Here we go. Let's see the legs. Not too quick to start. They're just about hitting the bottom now. And those are the primary legs. Let's wait for the secondary legs, which take a long time to start. They're just beginning to follow the same path. So pretty viscous. And look at how it hangs at the top of the glass there. And I already know this has a very nice mouthfeel. Pardon me, I bumped the table. The legs often tell you about the viscosity. Okay, so that was the color and the legs. Let's get onto the palate. Sorry, pardon me, the nose for Glen Ord 14. Very fruity. Very fresh, very malty, in fact. In fact, it's very, very volatile. So you get a really, really great nose from a Glencairn, even with just about 20 milliliters added in there. Now, this is an interesting one that's gone through a 5-cask process. Now, let me just run through that very quickly. This says triple matured in an ingenious 5-cask process. Maturation casks, European oak X sherry, American oak X bourbon. I'm guessing it's probably not 50-50, it might be more like 30-70, more X bourbon. And then it has development casks, X Pedro Jimenez wood, X PX wood, and X Moscatel sherry wood. Now that's very unusual to find in bigger releases. So that's really interesting. And then the marrying casks. So they married those together in an European oak puncheon. And that's probably also X sherry. It might be a refill, like a second fill or third fill to marry. So that's why I really feel like this is probably natural in color. 14 years. It's got some sherry content. It's got a lot of different woods. Anyway, we were talking about the nose. Fruity, malty. Perhaps a slight wine note. But that would be a very oaky wine. And it's really making me salivate. It's got some, I feel like it's got a little bit of effervescence, a little bit of fizziness to it. And I think all the wood was pretty fresh, very active wood. Maybe not all first fill, surely not. But even if it was second or third fill, the wood was very active and did a very good job of maturation. Some gooseberry. A little bit of fresh apple. I always get a lot of fresh apple with my Glen Ords. Very light vanilla. A little bit of old-fashioned, well, furniture polish. But the ones that smell so good, that are meant for expensive woods. It's got a very, very fresh nose. And I think we'll find more about this as we add water. Okay, onto the palate neat. Cheers, everybody. Hope you're doing okay. Are you surviving COVID-19? We're doing okay here in Manitoba. God bless to you wherever you are, that things are going okay and things are getting better. Cheers. Such a big mouth coating, juicy first sort of palate there. Still very malty. Lots of fruit in there. The apple, crab apple, very fresh grapes as well, and the gooseberry that I mentioned. Maybe a dash of a nice brandy syrup. Another taste. You're getting a lot of fresh fruit here. There is vanilla in the background, but predominantly a fruit-dominated palate. It's very, very fruity, very delicious. And the finish is effervescent. It's a bit fizzy. little bit dry, but it's got that little bit of a prickliness to it that's, well, actually it's quite enjoyable because it lets you know that you've had something that's cask strength. It's got a little bit of bite to it in a good way. It's got a touch of fruit sugar, so very, very sweet. Very fruit forward, as I mentioned. Apple, crabapple, gooseberry, grapes. A little bit of something kind of jammy coming in the background. Anyway, we're going to add some water. And then we're going to move on to the 18. Okay, I'm going to add a healthy amount. Let's count. 1, come on, 2, 3, 4. Whoa. 5, 6, 7, 8. That was more than 10. That was about 15. About 1 milliliter was added. We're still going to be well over 50%, I believe. Let that sit there. Okay, now have a look at this 18-year-old. And you can see how the vapors are condensing on the sides of the glass. That's very interesting. Now let me just take a quick whiff before we check out the legs. It's definitely got age on its side. Now I sent out a couple of drams of this to my Winnipeg Whiskey Club mates, and one of them, Stefan, he didn't know what this was or how old it was, and he said he thought it was very young, and that maybe because he is very much a sherry whiskey lover, so that could be why. It could also be that maybe this is a little bit more second fill, and surely it is because of the fact that they're using what is it now, hogsheads, right? American oak hogsheads, freshly charred. So freshly charred, that tells me they're probably recharred. So recharred, and a hogshead is a barrel that's had extra staves added to make it 250 liters. So because it's bigger, it'll mature a little bit more slowly. So you need more time in a hogshead than in a barrel. And probably that's a mix of second fill, I'm guessing, and some first fill. That would be my guess. Okay. All right, so let's look at the legs. Oh, sorry, the color. No, we did the color already. Okay, on to the legs for Glen Ord 18, the special release 2019. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so the first legs, medium speed. And the second legs, they're just starting. And they're extremely slow. Look at that. Beautiful. So we should have a very nice mouthfeel, and if my memory serves, yes, in fact, we do. Okay, on to the nose. Really beautiful bourbon, ex-bourbon oak maturation. I'm sure that's ex-bourbon oak. They might have thrown some American oak ex-sherry into the hogshead, but what I'm getting here is mostly ex-bourbon. And the rechar has done some very interesting things, and we're getting a whole lot of and that rechar really ramping up the vanilla note here. We still have apples in the background, but it's a vanilla apple sort of an explosion on the nose. Oh, and I just heard in Canada one of our snowbirds crashed, and my condolences to the family, to all Canadians for losing one of these amazing. Not only the pilot, I'm not sure if he survived, but those are majestic planes, and they're such a delight to see. They flew overhead in Winnipeg in support of our medical community, and it was just gorgeous to see. My kids loved it. So anyway, my condolences. Cooked apples, fresh apples, that huge vanilla. I think anybody would smell this and say, oh, it smells like vanilla. In fact, it smells like vanilla extract. And it smells like vanilla hand cream. It's very buttery. All right. So predominantly apple-y, orchard fruit, and vanilla nose. Okay, to the palate, neat. Cheers again. For me, this is the height, the zenith of American oak maturation. Beautifully sweet, lots of vanilla, lots of orchard fruits. Some lovely coconut. And I don't often get the coconut note that you can get from American oak, but we've got it here. So coconut vanilla. And a delicious apple-y, kind of a baked Danish apple tart. Sort of a palate coming through here. Quite delicious. The finish is quite long. Vanilla. A little bit of lemon zest. And slightly dry, but a very, very long finish. Okay, let me add a bit of water to that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoops. 9, 10. 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, that's good. Okay, we'll put the toque back on. And let's get into the 14 with water added now. The nose, first of all. Oh, that big, beautiful vanilla note coming through here. So you really get a sense that this is likely slightly more proportion of ex-American oak in the primary maturation. But you really do have a beautiful, sort of a slightly wine, grape-like sherried note. But it's the lighter sherry, not the dark sherry. Beautiful. That's a real delight to smell. Again, just bigger vanilla, slightly toned down astringency and sharpness. A joy to smell. Okay, the palate with water. Cheers. Still very, very sweet, very fruit forward, but a little bit more of the vanilla coming through there, which adds a bit of balance. One more sip. The finish still very effervescent, a little bit prickly on the tongue, but a beautiful, interesting, different, unique nose and palate and finish for this Glen Ord 14. And I love the fact that even on the design, they tried to show that it has 5 different woods there. Can you see those stripes? Love that. Final taste. There's a slight hint of a citrus coming through, which is also very nice. Vanilla, citrus, all of those great gooseberries and grapes and so on. Beautiful. Okay, well, let's get on to the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Singleton of Glen Ord, 14-year-old limited release. What is that going to be, folks? It's going to be 89. Yep, 89 points out of 100 is the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Glen Ord 14 limited release. Beautiful. Really, really like this. And you can see how much I enjoyed it, and I shared it, and it was very well received. And also at the Winnipeg Whiskey Club, everybody really liked that. This absolutely deserves a malt hug. Let's give it one. And a little malt kiss. Beautiful. All right, very nice. Highly recommend that. A very good price for the fact that it's cask strength, that it's got a very unique casking, a very unique story behind it there. Okay, let's get back into the 18-year-old. The nose. You really get a sense of the age here. A little bit of this leathery note. Polished church furniture. But leather, big vanilla. Almost a slight baseball glove note. A very well worn one. But still very vanilla forward. Stewed apples, fresh apples. All right, on to the palate. Cheers again. So rich. So very much like, again, a delicious baked tart with a little bit of vanilla custard on it. The finish still very fizzy, still very effervescent, slightly dry, vanilla sweetness. And there's a really a nice top note that's something like blackberries or blackberry jam. And the coconut's still there. The tiniest hint of mango in there as well. Very delicious. I really like this a lot. I like it a lot. Final taste. And you know what? It's a really beautiful spring summer whiskey. It's light, it's refreshing, it's got some sweetness, some fruit. Very astringent, which is actually quite nice. And just an altogether well put together whiskey. Well, let's get on to the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for the Singleton of Glen Ord 18-year-old special release 2019. What is that going to be, folks? It's going to be 91 out of 100. You heard it. 91 out of 100 is the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Glen Ord 18, the special release for 2019 from Diageo. 55% ABV, all American oak, and it's done a very good job of gentle maturation for those 18 years. It's got some youthfulness. It still has a little bit of that aged note as well, which is nice. I think I love you too. Come here. Oh. Malt hug. And a malt kiss for you too. Oh, I'm going to give you both a nice hug here. Oh, come here, you guys. All right. A little bit of Glen Ord love. Well, final thing to do. Should we do a Ralphie? Let's pull a Ralphie. And we're going to mix these together. I'm going to add a little bit of the 14 to the 18. And I'm going to stir that up. Swish it around. Very delicious. You know what? It probably hits 91 as well. Make sure you try mixing your malts at home. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you click the little link to subscribe to the channel right over here. And hit the bell as well so that you're subscribed and you get the notifications to the channel. And if you've been enjoying WhiskyWhistle, jump into Patreon. Just added a new patron a couple of days ago, and that was John Conrad. Big thanks, John Conrad. Thanks for joining. And to all my patrons, thank you so much for supporting me. So jump in there. You'll get advanced viewing of the WhiskyWhistle reviews. You'll also get in my credits, which are coming up right away. So watch those. Get in there. Okay? Take care, everybody. Find some Glen Ord. I highly recommend these. 89 points, 91 points, and they're great mixed. Take care.